Welcome to Show Up, Stand Out. I am so excited. My guest today is Reich. Ron is a high-level marketing and launch strategist that helps APlayers rapidly scale their businesses. Actually, Ron is a former lawyer, and he's been selling online for 10 years. But the most exciting part is that he is the name behind marketing of some serious names and organizations like House Publishing, Todd Herman, Selena Soo, Levesque, and that's just to name just a few. So I am very honored. Ron, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Very excited to be here.
You have such an impressive background. How did you get into selling online? What happened?
So yeah, I guess I'll give you kind of my real quick biography. So actually my real kind of journey, as you would say, it actually started when I was in the second grade. I had for whatever reason, I had very bad handwriting, or I had what my teacher called bad motor skills. And so what ended up happening was one day I got home from school one day, this is towards the end of my second grade year, and my mom told me that she had some bad news for me, that I was going to have to that I was held back from the second grade, that I was going to have to repeat the second grade. And as you can imagine, I was like 5 years old at the time. This was very, very traumatic for me at the time. And, I was crying for, weeks, at least days. I'm not sure if it was weeks. Anyways, from that point forward, from that point forward till kind of when I became like a young adult, I always felt like there was something wrong with me. Like I had to prove, like I wasn't smart, that I had to prove myself. And so I ended up deciding that I was going to be successful. I was going to succeed. And as you mentioned, that's kind of what brought me to becoming a lawyer, because I thought, that means that I'm a successful person. I'll become a lawyer, make a lot of money. And yeah, long story short, that wasn't really quite the right career for me. And it was actually during my third year of law school, that's kind of when I started finding out about marketing and making money online and things like that. So I essentially launched my first online business right before I became a lawyer, and I worked on that on the side for about a couple of years. And then after about 2 years, I was actually making more money with my online business, or I guess a bit similar amounts of money with my online business as I was with my lawyer business. And so that allowed me to quit my lawyer job and do the online thing full time. That was a little over 10 years ago. And I first started out, as you mentioned, I was working behind the scenes with other people, first with my own businesses. My first business, I had a partner where I was like the behind the scenes person. That was and I ran the business and the marketing essentially. That was actually in the dating and relationships market. Then I ended up launching a new business in the dog training market. I still have the dog training business. And then one thing led to another. I started working with people like Levesque and Selena Soo. And then I became kind of known as this like behind the scenes person, helping them with their launches and helping them grow their businesses. And then I figured I could reach more people if I could step out from the shadows, so to speak, to really do what I'm doing now, which is being more of a kind of front-facing expert.
So what was your superpower? So what was all these people that they saw in you, particularly, do you think?
Well, so I guess I kind of had two I say kind of my superpowers that I engineer, six figure, I'm very good at kind of creating these, seven figure marketing campaigns out of thin air. So really that's probably kind of, I would really consider myself kind of a marketing architect. Is kind of what I would consider like my actual superpower. It's kind of being able to look at somebody's business, look at their entire kind of what they have in place, and then create a very streamlined marketing plan with them that'll help them get to the next level. That's kind of on a macro level, like helping someone develop their kind of sales and marketing strategy from going from like six figures, low six figures to $500,000 and $500,000 and beyond. That's kind of on the macro. And then the micro, I'm just really good at engineering marketing campaigns and engineering launches and things along those lines. That's kind of like my high level skill, I would say, is like my superpower. And then my other superpower, I would say, is that I'm just really good at just for myself, I'm really, really good at implementing things. I'm definitely very good at executing, getting things done. And I've really brought in that, everything I've learned about implementing and getting things done as fast as possible to my clients. one of the reasons why my clients get such good results is because I kind of tell them kind of exactly what to do and all the things to ignore. A lot of times what I'm doing is telling them to say no. So it's kind of like I can see that as our friend Adam Urbanski would say, the fastest path to cash. And again, as long as people just execute, it's hard for them not to become successful.
So how did this transition happen for you personally, from being behind the scenes guy and doing these things for other people, and then turning and becoming the front man of your business? And you have a very strong presence, and so it seems very natural thing for you to be.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. So to be, thank you. I appreciate the kind words about me having a strong presence. Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's really interesting. I think that I'm not sure why, but I guess, okay, how would I say this? So yeah, basically I've been essentially doing marketing online. Like I said, I started my first business actually end of 2006, beginning of 2007. And then I became a full-time marketer in 2009. So pretty much from 2000, what was it? From that beginning, let's just say it's 2007. From 2007 all the way through, all the way through 2016, I was always a behind the scenes person. So yeah, so basically I spent most of my time as a behind the scenes person. But I guess there's a part of me that, I guess ultimately what it came down to is that because I've learned so much about marketing, and I've always been like a personal development junkie. And there was just like so many things that I really wanted to say. I really wanted to have my own voice. I wanted to get my ideas out there. We all kind of have that, we want to make an impact. We want to have our own voice. I always just had that urge, I always had that urge probably from early, probably since 2008, 2009. I always had that urge, but yeah, it's just like a lot of people, you just the same. I have the same insecurities that everybody else has, like imposter syndrome and, not thinking you're good enough, or you're just not having that confidence to put yourself out there. Who am I to be an expert, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, that's why I always just kind of lean towards being a behind the scenes person. And then I kind of, I had a good time doing that. There, in some ways that definitely has its virtues. But yeah, so what ended up happening though, it was kind of like I kind of had, I wouldn't say a crossroads, but I was working as you mentioned Ryan Levesque, best-selling author, creator of the Ask Method, one of the bigger names in our little marketing space. I was working as his marketing director for a couple of years, and I knew I saw the direction his business was going in. Me and Ryan are really good friends. We parted on really good terms. I saw everything that he was doing, and I knew I didn't really want to spend the next decade just building his business. And so I knew I wanted to start doing something on my own. And then when I kind of had this, I guess, a little bit of a crossroads where I could have kind of went back into starting another business where I was like more of a behind the scenes person, even if it was my business. And actually at that time I had my dog training business and I could have really focused on that. But yeah, there's just one of those things where you just had that, I had that feeling, I guess two things. I just kind of had that intuitive feeling, and just that I was just more excited about creating my own thing, being my own personal brand. So I started to go in that direction. And fortunately, really quickly, that was like my initial intuition. And then fortunately, a lot of people, they really wanted me to help them with their launches and help them with marketing and things like that. So I kind of started out just by doing consulting, and then I kind of started, doing stuff more front facing.
I am glad that you did, because I love your content. Your content is not, when you're writing something, it's not like, it's written by some sort of script or, deliberately trying to get some sort of strategy or something, it's to the point. It's very, very authentic, and it's everything that, you just put it all out. It's clear, it's concise, it's authentic. And this is why I follow you. This is why I like your content. So I'm glad. Let's talk about this whole thing about building your business and being the front person, because there was a training that you did a couple of weeks ago that I just stumbled across, to be honest. And I loved one of the things that you said. I've quoted you since, because I just so absolutely loved it. And you said, money flows to status and celebrity. And as a visibility strategist, I work with a lot of coaches, and I find that sometimes there's this wall that they hit, that they don't feel like that the word celebrity, or they don't feel like they deserve that spotlight. And even though they do have these feelings like I want to change the world, obviously it's a big dream and it's very scary, but it's there somewhere. To see themselves as a celebrity and seeing themselves with that, they don't have enough reasons. And I thought you could be the best guest on this show to maybe break the bubble and show them the world.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, to give credit where credit is due, I first heard that phrase or said that way by my kind of number one virtual mentor, a guy by the name of Dan Kennedy, who I recommend everybody check out. So this is just, I guess this is one of those things where what I always say when it comes to marketing and growing a business, I always kind of say that I'm more or less agnostic. Like, I will just tell people, this is the thing that works. This is the thing that's going to make you the most money fastest, that's going to help you hit your goals the fastest. So I don't really, so obviously I kind of don't care so much what the mechanism is as long as it works. And so as you mentioned, the truth of the matter is, it's almost hard to, it's basically, I wouldn't say it kind of is self-evident in the sense that this is just a fact that money, I can come up with examples to prove this to you, but the fact of the matter is that money moves to status. The person who has the highest status, the person who is the biggest celebrity in their market, they're the person who make the most money. My favorite example that I've been talking about lately is if you look at what is her name? Kylie Jenner, the youngest female billionaire in the history of the world. She is, she one of the Kardashian sisters. I think she's 21 years old. She's worth like over $1 billion. And okay, obviously she's the point I'm getting at is like, there's a lot of people she actually is very, very smart, but there's a lot of people who are as smart as she is, who are as good at business as she is. But the reason why she's been able to become basically become the youngest billionaire is because she's able to leverage her celebrity into this really, really successful brand. And there's all of these, there's so many examples of this. Just kind of all over the place, where there's so many people they're not the best at what they do. We know there are people who are not the best at what they do. They're not the best writers. They're not even the best coaches, but because they're able to, create celebrity, they do a really good job. So here would be kind of an imaginary example to give you, what to think about this. Like, let's say that, okay, you're a coach, right? Let's say that, or myself, let's say if either of us went on Oprah tomorrow, or were interviewed by Oprah tomorrow, and all Oprah said was, "Hey, Juliette, you're an awesome coach. You're one of the best coaches in the world." Overnight, you would become probably the highest paid coach in the world. And you don't know anything more than you do right now. But because you've been christened by Oprah, and essentially in this context, taking her kind of like celebrity glow and having it infused on you, you all of a sudden could raise your rates to X amount of what they are to whatever, $10,000 an hour. You could probably do $100,000 VIP days. Again, hopefully people understand this. I know it's pretty obvious, but for no other reason, because of the celebrity. It has nothing to do with your skills. It has nothing to do with how awesome you are at what you do. It's only because of that. And again, there isn't a faster way to do it. Like again, even if you could snap your fingers and become a 10 times, in quotes, better coach than you are right now, you're not going to make $100,000 a day as you would if Oprah tells the world that you're awesome. So this is just one of those things. This is just one of those, realities of the market. And the thing that's exciting is that because of kind of the opportunity here for all of us is because our world we're just in a very things are so niched these days. Like everybody, there used to be, okay, if you look at Netflix, right, for example, that would be a good example. If you look at Netflix, there's all these different categories in Netflix. No matter what, there's like I don't know how many, there's like thousands and thousands of shows on Netflix. So whatever you're into, you could find the exact same thing that you're into. But nowadays, there's like more than one Netflix. There's like Disney Plus, there's Hulu. So the idea here is that everybody is looking and they're able to basically find the exact perfect thing for them. Like they're able to find the exact perfect show that is just designed for them, essentially. In this example, and everything is totally customized. So the point I'm getting at is that we all have an opportunity, and this is the whole micro celebrity opportunity, as you mentioned. We all have an opportunity to become that exact perfect person, the exact perfect expert to a very, very carefully selected audience of people. And the key here is that if you can become that micro celebrity, that larger than life figure, too, it doesn't have to be a huge group of people. That itself is going to make it very, very easy and a very clear path. It really is the fastest path I could think of for somebody to really hit their income goals, especially if you're an expert, if you're selling something that's a little bit more high end. Like there used to be this famous idea. I always forget the guy's name who mentioned it. Back in 2007, I believe this guy wrote this article about, it's called this idea about 1,000 true fans. And if you have 1,000 true fans, that's enough to have a sustainable income. And what he was talking to, he was really talking about like artists and musicians and those kinds of people. Like if you're a musician and you have 1,000 true fans and you're touring and you're selling albums, you can make like $100,000 a year. That's basically, you'd have a sustainable income. Nowadays, just because of other things we can do, because of like high-end offers and because it's easier to reach people, I would say you don't really need 1,000 true like paying fans. I would say it's more like if you have 500 to 1,000 people actively following you, and then like I would say like 100 or so super fans and 100 or so super fans. Those are people that actually pay for your goods and services and sign up for your programs. Really, again, I would say 100 super fans, and you're basically definitely making over probably $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 plus per year. And again, most people, if you are consistent, if you're doing the right things, to become a larger than life figure for 100 people, that's something that I wouldn't say anyone can do that overnight. But if you're focused on that for 3, 6, 12 months, you can basically get to that position, and you'll be in a really good position to scale from there.
So I have a question then, because what you've said is it's brilliant. So pretty much, well, let's not say anyone, but you have to possess certain qualities, or you need to acquire and focus on certain qualities and certain action steps and certain aspects in order for this to happen. I totally agree with you with what you said. And I know, guys, maybe you're watching, you're saying, yeah, but I'm not going to be on Oprah maybe ever in my life. But I can share with you
that was just an example.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And I wanted to share with you that recently I was featured in Forbes, it wasn't something I contributed, I was quoted. And what it did for my branding, it's just elevated it completely to a new niche. For me, it was just an everyday. I did not become, as Ron just said, I did not become a different person. I did not become smarter. I did not become anything. But being able to add that even to my email signature has changed a lot in terms of how I see people perceiving my brand, and obviously how they're paying me and how they are open to the offers that I'm making. It makes a huge difference. So therefore, focusing on creating that status of someone who other people quote, who other people follow, it pays off. It pays off big time. But let's talk about, I know that you mentioned APlayers a lot, and this is something that you call your group and your people in your mastermind. So in order to become an APlayer, what are the qualities? And I suppose there will be these same qualities that would be required to, make that difference in 6 to 12 months, as you just mentioned.
Okay, so when it comes to being an APlayer, so the way I think about it is, so when I think of an APlayer, I really think of my definition of an APlayer. That's someone who is really in the top. They're at least in the top 5% of their field, and someone who I would say, if you're in the top 1%, that would be what I call an A+ player. So just to kind of give you and again, just to give you an example, and again, I know this isn't a huge interview. I've done full day-long seminars on this exact topic, but essentially what I'm getting at is we have a lot of agency to decide kind of what game we're playing, what field, how we're going to judge the rules. But to keep things simple, like if we're talking about kind of like the coaching and expert industry, anyone who's doing, $100,000, $200,000 a year, they're essentially in the top 5% of their field. And really, if you're doing here in the United States, if you're doing $400,000 to $500,000 a year in income, not in revenue, but in income, which is typically kind of about let's say that's kind of about an upper six-figure, low seven-figure business, that puts you kind of in the top 1% if we're kind of using, if we're using our industry as a way to judge it. But yeah, when it comes to being an A player, the things that my clients all seem to have in common, that the people that I like to hang out with, the people who are A players, is there's three kind of big things. Is that they're all very, very ambitious. They have big goals and they don't apologize for their ambition. And we can all decide how ambitious we want to be. The other quality that they have in common is that they all are impact driven. I wouldn't say that they're not all like, no, they are all impact driven. And again, I wouldn't say they're only impact driven, but they are, to be an A player, to be a true A player, you really do have to have a purpose beyond just making money. You have to have a purpose. You have to have a goal of making the world a better place. And then the third quality that all A players have in common is that they are really, really committed to personal growth. And so again, in the context of what we're talking about here, being committed to personal growth is one part of that. There's quite a few parts of it, but one part about that is being able to step outside your comfort zone repeatedly, over and over again. That this is just one of those facts in life that all change happens outside the comfort zone. So there's this idea that we need to be comfortable being uncomfortable, which is why anyone who is this whole micro celebrity thing is a very kind of good case study of that. Anyone who really wants to become an expert and really build their personal brand, by definition, you're constantly gonna have to be getting outside your comfort zone. You're constantly gonna be having to kind of like go farther than you have before. You're gonna want to get on bigger stages than you have before. You're going to want to, step out there and just like have a stronger message than you have before. And again, this never really ends. This is one of those things that this is one of the things that you have to accept. You don't have to do anything. But this is one thing that I would encourage anyone listening to this who wants to build a successful brand to accept, is that there is never a point when you arrive and everything's going to be easy and you're not going to be nervous and you're not going to have quote unquote imposter syndrome. The people who are A players, the people who are successful, they realize that this is the case, and it's really about having that courage to move forward in spite of that fear. And that really is honestly the difference between a lot of the people. Like if you're listening to this and you're not and you're not where you want to be in your career or in your business, and you look at people who are where you want to be, oftentimes, and this is probably most of the time, the only difference between them and you is that they're just more willing to go for it. They're more willing to step outside their comfort zone. When you think about that thing that you're really, really nervous about doing, that you kind of deep down know that if you did it, it would help you get to the next level. The people who you admire, those are people who are in those situations and they go through it in spite of the fear. And so hopefully that gives you some ideas of what it means to be
absolutely. Yes, I love what you said, because big celebrities, big people, big entertainers still have stage fright and still are nervous just up to the moment where they have to step out and then they do the show. I get nervous and self-sabotage before every interview and before every show, because it's just a normal thing. I think it's a normal thing for our brain.
So you being in the UK, I'm just kind of thinking. I was recently reading Elton John's biography, and there was a great passage in there where he was. So this was early, or not so early in his career. This was like right when he had first made it, and he was like, he probably sold 1 million. he had sold 1 million albums, and he was just really just on fire. Like John Lennon was hanging out with him. He was just like on top of the world. And then he would talk about how he still felt like an imposter, that people were going to figure him out, you know? And there's a really famous Maya Angelou. If you Google, anyone listens, go Google Maya Angelou Imposter Syndrome. There's a really good quote for her about how after she had sold 20 million books, she still felt like a total imposter. So it's just a good example. Yeah, people get stage fright, and it's just, I wouldn't say, now you don't have to, I mean, these are kind of extreme examples. I'm not saying that you're always going to feel like an imposter syndrome, but a lot of that stuff, never goes away. And we do, always have to kind of fight through it.
I personally do believe that the imposter syndrome might never go away. I really do believe so. You know why? Because the bigger we become, the more we know, the more we understand that there's so much more to learn and so much more to grow into. So of course we're going to feel more insignificant.
We're always going to have those insecurities for sure, 100%.
And I think what you said is just, it's managing it, and it's learning to, in a way, lovingly ignore that part. But also on the other side of this whole imposter syndrome and stepping out of your comfort zone and all these kind of things, one of the most important things is that there's also a good journey, that on the other hand, you're becoming more confident, you're becoming more okay with yourself, you're becoming much more kind to yourself, accepting yourself. I think it's a great journey of self-empowerment and finding yourself in general.
Yeah, I would go beyond that. Is like the ultimate journey of life. The purpose of life is to grow and become everything we're capable of becoming. So for sure, it's the ultimate thing to do. There's no downside to everything you mentioned, 100%.
So just to wrap it up, guys, when we're talking about, becoming an APlayer, or it's not that it's unattainable, and it really is, the difference is that you just do those scary things and continue being scared. Don't be afraid. Don't expect that they're going to just disappear or anything. Continue being scared and continue doing them. Continue being scared. You're going to be still the same person. You're not going to change overnight, but miracles will happen just because you're doing these scary things. And that's just it's like the simple basic truth, I think, of becoming micro celebrity, making $1 million, making whatever you want to do. It's all attainable as long as you're prepared to just do these uncomfortable things. They're not scary, they're just uncomfortable.
Absolutely. 100% amen to that. I totally agree.
One thing that before I let you go, I love being part of your group, and I think that's just talk to me. What is this group about, and who are you looking to join the group?
So I have a Facebook group. It's called Heroic Profits for Mission-Driven Entrepreneurs. But essentially, the group is really designed to help really emerging experts who are looking to make a difference. It's a good place where we all hang out. And I post, there's hours and hours of really, really quality content in there already. I do trainings there on a regular basis. But if you, when I was talking about what it means to be an APlayer, like whether, if you're a person who's ambitious, looking to make an impact, looking to really improve yourself, those are the kind of people that we like having in the group. So if you would like to join, just search for Heroic Profits in Facebook, and we'll love to have you in there.
I'm going to make it even easier. You just have to click in the link in the description, and you're going to be straight in there. I absolutely love that group, and Ron definitely delivers loads of value. And it doesn't even matter what level you're on in your business. There's a lot of information that Ron gives. It's such a simple basics, but they're mind-blowing, because sometimes we're not thinking about things that we need to do, the essential things that we need to do. I wanted to put the word essential in this show. Ron, thank you so much for being my guest today. I really enjoyed having this chat with you, and thank you so much for sharing the value. I thought that you gave us great examples. And guys, focus on the things that matter. Focus on building your status. It really is where money flows. If money is the first level of impact that you want to make, there's obviously much more than that, because money is not everything. It only opens the doors to the life that you want to make. And when you're happy, you have the impact that you've made in your own life, then you can start making the world the better place and making the impact that is much bigger than you can probably imagine right now. So, Ron, do you have any last words to say before we finish?
No, I think we covered everything. So thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate being here. Great connecting with you once again. And I'm excited to continue the journey.
Me too. Thank you again, guys, for watching. And I will see you next week on another episode of Show Up, Stand Out.